Yes, it's 2 days in a row where we're going to review a controller, and I do apologise for that, but this is such a new controller out that we had to do it straight away. It is the JumperRC Smart. Jumper are becoming smart with their RCs. It's an ELRS controller. It's got Hall sensor gimbals. It's got a full colour screen. It comes in a magnitude of different colours. It's something, and sorry, I got really excited then. It's really, really inexpensive, like really inexpensive. The question is, as always, is it actually going to be any good? Or is it just another budget piece of rubbish for you to make a mistake and buy? As you know, in this channel, we do nothing but brutally honest reviews. Let's find out if I think you should spend your hard-earned money on the JumperRC Smart. Looking at the box, we can see it's got ELRS 2.4 gigahertz. We've got, like I say, that full colour screen. And it comes in white, pink, yellow, green, blue, purple and black, although they call it grey. I opted for the green one because I've got the blue T15. And blue and green is the channel colours, and as you all know, I am a tart. Now, let's do a little bit of ASMR as we open this box. And let's find out if this is where the smart money is. Bit of ASMR for you there. So, as we can see from the box, it tells us that we've got ELRS 2.4 gigahertz protocol, a full function small size radio, Hall sensor gimbals. Now, if these are the same gimbals that are in the Bumblebee that we reviewed just yesterday in such a small form factor and with a colour screen, we are on to a winner. So what's this? We've got JumperRC, I don't know what that's for. Let's open the box. We've got another one of those, again, I don't know what it's for. And then you've got this, oh. That's the ELRS jumper lanyard. Come in, Boy Wonder. And then in here is the Jumper Smart, so we'll put that to one side and we'll see what other peripherals you get in the box. So you get a USB cable, and you get the Jumper QC, we'll be the judge of that, and of course some extra springs to put a spring in your step. Now then, let's have a look. Let's just put all this to one side a second. So picking up the controller for the first time, and we can feel it does feel quite light in the hand. The plastics do feel a little bit cheaper than what the Bumblebee are, and we can actually see, I don't know if the camera will pick it up, but there is like a gap in between the gimbal here, and you can actually see the plastic behind it. Don't know if the camera's going to pick that up. Hopefully we'll be able to get that on the macro when we take a look. We've got 4 switches here. We've got joysticks here. Let me just move this down a little bit so we make sure it's in focus all the time. We've got pots here. We've got the same momentary switches here that we've got on the Bumblebee. We've got 2 2-position switches there, and we've got 2 3-position switches there. And then you've got your ELRS antenna. That's really stiff. Got a headphone jack, and you've got a USB for using it on Sims and things. Moving around to the back, we've got 2 sort of rubberized grips, and it takes one 18650. And I'm actually surprised there's one included in it. How good it is, I don't know, but it's an 18650 lithium ion that's already included, which is a bit of a surprise. So I've never turned this radio on. This is the first look of this radio. Let's turn it on and have a look and a listen. Okay, so what that's telling me in Chinese, because I do speak Chinese, as you all know, that's telling me in Chinese that our throttle and our switches were not in the designated positions. Now this does run ELRS. It's only 100 milliwatt, so it's not as powerful as the Bumblebee, which runs 1000 milliwatts or 1 watt. I'm not sure what this is doing, to be honest with you. Now, I'm going to assume it runs EdgeTX, but if I'm going to be completely honest with you, I don't think it does. And the issue is, how do we get into the menu to turn it into English? Okay, so hold, and then if we, don't know how we, because that's putting me there. So if we X out of that, then essentially what we need to do, and we need to change the language. There we go. Okay. So you can have it in American, or you can have it in Chinese. God bless America. Okay. And that's the theme.
The battery's about to die as well.
I know. So which is the easiest to read?
White.
Yeah. Oh, that black one I think is the easiest to read.
And it was already on black.
So can we? So we can change this. Yeah. This is not what I thought it was. This is very different than what I thought it was. What I need to work out now is how I put it in. Or where's my ELRS Lua script as an example, and how do we then put it into Wi-Fi mode to add our bind phrase? Give me a second, guys, I'll be back. Okay, guys, so we've had a look at it, and I think the truth of the matter is this is not an EdgeTX radio. So what I'm going to have to do is get this into bind mode. Okay, so we've got the Jumper Smart turned on, as you can see here. And we're going to see if we can set some switches up in Betaflight. Now, this particular receiver requires power to be on before you actually do anything. So we'll just give it a second. So there we go, it says it's connected. Now it's going to say that we've got low. Okay, so so I think that might be, yeah. So I think that might actually be AETR looking at that. Could be wrong. Yep, so the yaw is right. That's right. That's right, and the throttle is right. So now all we need to do, we've done that, so we just need to go into modes really quick. And we need to set up our... So this one is, what's this one? So in the middle is pre-arm, and then at the back is beeper. So we can use that one, and then... So we're gonna have to turn that off, because I can't, because this isn't EdgeTX. So our pre-arm is there, our arm is there, and our beeper is at the back. Perfect. So I wasn't going to originally take this apart and do a QC check on it, because I've got this radio from a contact, from a friend in China, and from what I understand and from what I read, I'm not entirely sure if this is, in the current state it is anyway, supposed to be released to the Western market. So I was a little bit on the fence as to whether I should do this or not. The software and everything, and the fact it's limited to 100 milliwatts does tell me it probably isn't supposed to be released in the West. It is mainly just sort of China mainland only product. But then I thought to myself, well, I'm in the West and I've managed to get hold of one, so you guys in the West will be able to get hold of one if you so desire. So we really do need to answer the question what the QC is like. Now, the first thing you're going to see looking at this video, I've got no doubt in my mind, is a ribbon cable. And that's a shame because I thought we'd moved away from that jumper, I really did. I appreciate this is done on a budget to a certain spec, but a ribbon cable jumper, really? However, that said, and we'll get some close-up shots in a second, that said, the rest of it doesn't look bad at all. Let me switch lenses and take a closer look. Okay, let me just grab this microphone down. Okay, so we can see here, obviously we've got the controllers. We've got a cable just sort of going here. It's tied around itself, it's relatively neat. These are soldered and obviously stickered down as, oh, you can't see that on this bit. We've got the momentary switches there, we've got the 2 position switches there. We've got a massive warning here on the battery compartment not to put it in the wrong way. You can see with the plus and minuses it's easy enough to work out, but it is all in, the main warning there is in Chinese. I think one of the biggest concerns for me, if we just come over to this side, is going to be this ELRS antenna. If you look, and I'm gonna turn this around. Well, I don't know if I should turn this around because if I do, but the problem is it's pulled at a 90-degree angle or 180-degree angle, and ideally, I'd like to reduce a bit of that slack on it, but I'm worried obviously it goes over there. So I think leaving it at that is probably better than how it was. It wasn't ideal. But actually overall, for a really budget controller, if we just look away from that ribbon cable for just 1 second, because I know you guys in the comments are going to go ballistic that Jumper put a ribbon cable in a controller in 2025, and I get it, I do. But you've also got to remember this is a super affordable and budget controller in 2025. This will run you, I believe, like I said, I got this from a friend of mine in China who sent it me, but I believe you're looking at about 50 or 60 quid for this. It's got better gimbals than the Radiomaster Pocket. It's got a better screen than the Radiomaster Pocket. It doesn't have EdgeTX, which is I'm sure people more intelligent and clever than me very quickly will get a hold of this and will be able to flash EdgeTX on it, I've got no doubt. But as it stands, it seems to be some sort of closed proprietary sort of software. Not a massive fan of that, I've got to be honest. But overall, before we've actually flown with it, I've got to say, for the cost, the quality, and the feel of it, I'm quite impressed. Now, don't get me wrong, it does feel budget. It doesn't feel premium. It doesn't feel as premium as a Bumblebee. It doesn't feel anywhere near as premium as a T15. And it's certainly nothing like, you know, the top end box from Radiomaster or the TX16. But it's not supposed to, is it? It's supposed to come in on budget or in a budget for a specific market. And I think it does it quite well. You've got a lot of features in this radio. It's clearly picking up telemetry off that screen for when you move the quad around. You can set up tanks, RC cars, aeroplanes, helicopters. It's got all of the presets in there. I'd have just preferred that it had EdgeTX in, but we can't win them all, can we? Let's go and give it a fly and see just how well it performs. Alright guys, so this is the Maiden Flight of the Jumper Smart. I've never flown with this before, but I am using a drone I have flown with before, and I'm using a very small battery just so I can feel the gimbals initially before I go on a full send. Although this battery has actually already gone down to 3.5. I knew it was a small battery, but okay, so I'm not used to flying with small controllers. I do have massive hands, as you can see. The gimbals do feel very similar to the Bumblebee. I've got no problems with my DBMI. It's -70 at the minute. I don't know what the refresh rate is on this because you can't find out. Let's switch batteries a second.
Why does the thing even flies?
For a second flight with the Jumper Smart. So what I was just saying there is, The only problem with this is I don't know what the refresh rate is because it doesn't have HTX. It has some sort of proprietary system. Now, I'm going to guess, and it is only a guess, that they'll probably set it to either 150 or 50. That's going to be my guess. Link quality is 5/100, dBMI is -85. So we have got a strong signal for 100 milliwatts. I'm just getting used to these gimbals. The gimbals are exactly the same as the Bumblebee. What I'm struggling with, and you may be able to see this on the stick cam, is the fact that my hands are so big and this controller is so small. So
one of your hands is the size of that controller.
Yeah, it is. One of my hands is indeed the size of this controller.
Well,
But one second, Boy Wonder. So I think this may be a controller that probably suits Boy Wonder a little bit better than it does me. But we'll find out because he's going to fly. He loves this drone. This is the Avion RC Nexa 3.5 Evo Pro with the 04 Pro on board. So what I'm going to say in my initial impressions flying this is the gimbals are much better than the Radiomaster Pocket. It feels better in the hand than the Radiomaster Pocket. Okay, mate. And obviously it's got a colour screen unlike the Radiomaster Pocket. So all those things, and it's about the same price as the Radiomaster Pocket with standard gimbals. So all those things stand it in good stead to beat the Radiomaster Pocket. The one thing I've got an issue with it is it doesn't have HTX. Now obviously that's an issue from adding a bind phrase, because that's what I've been teaching you guys in the past few days. But as we saw with the momentary switches on the Bumblebee, HTX is a really powerful piece of software. Is there?
Oh, it's gone now, it's gone now.
HTX is a really powerful piece of software.
Look, it's coming back. It's
Oh yeah? Is it actually chasing me?
Yeah, it's literally behind you, it's chasing you.
No
It's
way.
actually chasing you. Whoa, shoot, Papa. It's literally circling you.
Oh yeah, there he is.
Look, now
Go on then, let's play. I think he wants to play.
Revolves have been reversed.
I think a little pigeon wants to play.
I think imagine if you start chasing the pigeon, the roles are being reversed.
So,
Hey mate.
hang on a minute, Boy Wonder. Hang on a minute, Boy Wonder. Let me just... It's okay. So, our LQ has dropped a couple of times there. Nothing major. But it's interesting to see. So yeah, I think this is better than the Radiomaster Pocket, apart from the fact HTX is such a powerful piece of software. I'm not sure if I can recommend something that doesn't have it. Now there may be a way to hack it.
Like flash it maybe.
But I don't know at this moment in time. This radio is so brand new, nobody really knows. But it's I don't have a problem with it. It's quite enjoyable to use, if a bit small. I'd happily use this instead of the Radiomaster Pocket though. But overall, nearly messed up then. Overall, I'm quite happy with this. Yeah, this is good. This is good. I think it's not good enough for my hands, and I think the HTX is a problem, but the gimbals are much better than the Radiomaster Pocket. So for a budget controller, my initial impressions are this is good. This is good. I would never use it personally as a daily driver. I think it's too small for me. But I do think that if you wanted to get into the hobby as cheaply as possible and have something with a little bit of bling, then this is probably the thing to use, because that 2-inch touchscreen is lovely. The gimbals are nicer.
Well, it's not touchscreen.
Oh, sorry, not touchscreen. The gimbals are nicer. It comes in all these pre-made colours already. and it's 50 quid or $50. It's a bargain. Right, let's land. So I'm here at the field with Boy Wonder and the Avion RC Nectar 3.5 Evo Pro. Boy Wonder, take off. Now you may wonder. Oh yeah, you're okay as long as you stay at the tree. What do you think of the JumperRC Smart, Boy Wonder?
It's quite nice actually. It's literally perfect size for my hands.
And how do the gimbals feel? Do they feel as good as the Bumblebees?
Yeah, they almost feel the exact same, except for the throttle. The throttle feels a bit different.
Alright, better or worse?
I would say like the same.
Oh, so it doesn't feel different then?
Yeah.
Oh, brilliant.
Well, the throttle's just like a bit
different.
Yeah, just a bit different, that's it.
Alright, Boy Wonder, you enjoy your flight, sir.
Okay.
So, with the Jumper Smart, ultimately, it comes down to sort of some of the negative and some of the positive points, and where you are on your journey with FPV, and of course, let's not forget the size of your hands. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to look at some negative and some positive points, and we'll start with the negative points first of all. Number one is it's only 100 milliwatt. So if you found yourself in a situation whereby you did need more power, unfortunately you are going to be out of luck. Now for the majority of pilots, 100 milliwatt is going to be more than enough. There is no Edge TX, and that means you're missing out on quite a few key features. You're not able to set the momentary switches as sticky keys like we did on the Bumblebee just yesterday. You're not able to set an ELRS bind phrase because you don't have Lua scripts, and you can't have the radio say armed when you arm it, as an example. There is loads more within Edge and OpenTX that you can do to customize your radio. And unfortunately, because it doesn't have it, you are missing out on all that. Now, as pilots, we probably don't use a lot of it individually, but as a collective, it is quite an important thing to us that we've learned through the years that we really do need. I am also somebody who bangs the drum of open source software as often as possible. And I do believe, although I'm not able to confirm, I'm not actually able to confirm much about this radio, to be fair. But from what I understand and from what I've been told, it is a closed source software made by Jumper. Now, I'm happy to be corrected. You know, I'm going on record as saying this is what I've been told, but at no point do I say, look, I am the knowledge here. I know what I'm talking about. I genuinely don't. It's such a new controller to the market. And I'm not sure what market exactly that it's actually aimed at because of some of the design and setup choices that it has. But the flip side to that is if you're a newbie pilot and you're finding Edge TX way overcomplicated, this is pretty much pick up, bind and play. So there are swings and roundabouts. I've got it down as a negative, but it could also be a positive for you. Now, another negative is it has no external module bay. So you are then stuck with ELRS. That's not a bad thing, but if you needed to increase your power to 200 milliwatts or 250 milliwatts, you can't do it because it's limited to 100 milliwatts. You can't add DBS Crossfire. You can't add Gemini. And of course, you can't add the king of the RC connection, FR Sky. That bit's a joke, by the way, in case anybody runs out and starts to buy FR Sky based upon what I've said. No, absolutely not. Do not. So you are sort of stuck with ELRS, which is not a bad thing, but you are stuck on a 100 milliwatt, which could prove problematic if you was to start pushing things. The other thing is, I don't know what the refresh rate is. So it could be set to 500 hertz. It could be set to 50 hertz. I don't know. Let me know in the comments down below if there is a way to actually check it. I'm not sure that there is, because I certainly can't see it in the menu. Another negative is the menus feel like they're aimed more at Eastern culture, sort of the Chinese and Japanese market. Again, it's no bad thing. It's just not necessarily how we are used to seeing our software set up in the West. Again, I don't know if this radio is meant for the West. My friend over there in China sort of found this, grabbed it and got it shipped over to me as quick as possible. For that, I'm eternally grateful. Thank you. So that could be why the software is designed how it is. My son, boywonderfpv, absolutely loves it. It's, from a kid's point of view, perfect. It's almost gamified. Not necessarily what you'd want to be taking on a set if you was doing a gig, for example, though. It does feel light and made to a budget. Now, I've got that in the negative section. Again, it could be in the positive section because it is only £50 or $50, €50, depending on what the conversion rate is at the time. It's super, super budget. So, you know, it's not going to feel like a Boxer or a TX16 or a T15. It's just not. Positives. We've got a full colour screen. We've got all the software in one place. Like I said before, it's not Edge TX, but it means that there's no setup and messing around for newbie pilots. We've got some very nice telemetry touches on the screen already set up for you, so you can see what position your switches are in. And also when you connect a quad or an aircraft, it will show you the horizon on the actual screen of the controller as well, as long as you've got telemetry turned on, of course. It supports more than just drones. It supports fixed wings, helis, drones, cars, trucks, even tanks, all pre-built into that software. We've got a USB Type-C, which, as you guys all know, is a big win with me. The gimbals feel very smooth, tight and precise, very, very similar to how the Jumper Bumblebee feels. I would almost hazard a guess to say they're probably the same or maybe slightly cheaper, but very, very similar. Comes in a magnitude of colours that you can pick. So you've got purple, blue, green, yellow, pink, white, black, which they call grey. And the price, 50 quid, $50. It's cheaper than a Radiomaster Pocket, especially when you consider to have gimbals that feel the same on a Radiomaster Pocket. You're going to have to buy AGO1s. The Radiomaster Pocket base gimbals are not as good as the gimbals in the Jumper Smart. So that's all the positives and the negatives. Let's move on to the next segment. And as you all know, the community spotlight is my favourite part of this video. Let's start with our amazing members. The Community Shepherds Sheep Adventure Printing, Pedro Tomb, Grim FPV, Flip, SOS Death Pilot, Shaky FPV 21, Silicam Photography Club, Alexandra, Boy Wonder FPV, Connor Clark, Christopher Concrite, Peter Puff FPV, Scottish Allen 420, Jamie Primnett, Reindeer, Han Solo, Doper FPV, Mark Duplex, Harry M Photography, JR FPV, James III of Boston, Phil Anderson, Not Here, Oinks FPV, Barry Morgan FPV, and Only Drones. It costs just $1.99 a month to join them. You will get your name shouted out in every one of these featured length videos, and wherever possible, I will drop as early access videos to you as possible. Now, let's look at your comments. Rarun says, thanks for the great review. I have the TX16 and I really dislike how big it is, especially considering I'm a thumber. That's why I'm interested in gamepad style small radios. I almost decided on the Bumblebee after your review, but the GX12 is also small and has built-in dual Gemini. I don't know if it would be as comfortable as a gamepad style radio for thumbers. Any opinions? Well, I'm a thumber and I don't use gamepad style controllers. I use normal controllers in the main because of how big my hands are. So I don't think it being a gamepad style controller is necessarily going to be a sort of showstopper when it comes to the fact that you're a thumber. It all depends. I think the biggest point here is on how big your hands are. I have tried numerous times to work with Radiomaster for whatever reason. They don't seem to like me. So I'll keep plugging away, and if I can get a hold of a GX12, I may have to fund it myself. But I will try and get a hold of a GX12 and give you my thoughts and opinions on it. It does look like a really nice radio, don't get me wrong. But when I've got a Boxer and I've got a TX16S myself, I'm just not sure where it would fit for me personally. But certainly from the channel's point of view, if it's something I can either get a hold of or fund myself, I certainly will do. Thanks for your comment. Cub Alexandro says, this radio looks very small in your hands. You said the pocket is smaller than this. I was shocked. I do have giant hands. Alexandro says, when I started FPV, this wasn't available, so I picked the Pocket. I really like it because I've got small hands, but you're probably right about the gimbals. I'm feeling that my ideal radio still doesn't exist. Well, take a look at the Jumper Smart. It may well be for you. I'll probably upgrade the Pocket with AGO1 gimbals later on. AG01 gimbals for the Pocket will cost the same as the Jumper Smart. Just bear that in mind as well. Thank you for these reviews. You, along with Bardwell, Oscar Lang, or Rimsler, are my favourite FPV content creators and the only ones that I trust. Keep up the great work. Thank you, Alexandro. Really do appreciate your comments there. I'm not necessarily going to say this is better than the Pocket, although personally for me, because of the size of the hands I've got, I have nothing to go on other than what gimbals feel nicer. And to me, these gimbals feel nicer than the Pocket. This is not a radio I could live with every day. Boy Wonder has taken a shine to it and he will probably use it, but he's 11 years old, so that probably makes more sense, doesn't it? Or again, any adult who's got small hands. I just don't have small hands, and that's a limiting factor for me. The Pocket is something I've never liked. It just, I don't know. It's probably just because of how small it is. But again, this particular one is probably going to be too small for me long term anyway. But yeah, just consider this. But then there's flip sides. I think you're probably further along in your FPV journey than a newbie would be. So maybe having something that doesn't have HTX in is probably a bit of a disadvantage. Anyway, thank you very much for your comment. And finally, Simca says, 100% agree, Pocket gimbals are plasticky and bendy. These feel tight. My AG01 Nano gimbals for the Pocket are better. This is awesome. Thanks very much, Simca. I really appreciate your comment. And if you want to get involved in the next video, leave a comment in the comment section down below. Just make it stand out to me and I'll pick 3 to feature on the next video. But please do it as quick as you can, because I've already got the next video recorded, and that is going to be the Flywoo Flybe 20. But I needed to get this out today. So drop a comment down here as quick as you can and I'll pick the 3 ones that stand out the most, and I'll feature them in tomorrow's video. So we come to the final segment of the video, and it's always, should you be smart? Should you buy the JumperRC Smart or stay away from it? And it comes down to a magnitude of answers. This is not one that I can say yes or I can say no to, because if you ask me, would I buy it? My answer would be no. My answer would be no for a few reasons. Number 1, it's too small for me. Number 2, I'm used to AG01 gimbals. And number 3, I want HTX. Number 4, I want an external module. But that doesn't necessarily mean that this is not a good purchase for you. If you're somebody who has small hands, if you're somebody who is at the beginning of your FPV journey and picks up an HTX radio and sees all of the menus and is completely overwhelmed at what you're supposed to do with all these menus and all these buttons and all these things, this could well be the radio for you. It's lovely and compact. It's super cheap, so it gets you into the hobby at a price point that's accessible, that's easy because of the predefined software that's already included on there. Sure, it took me a little bit of faffing around to find which button does what. Once you know which button does what, away you go. The software is really easy to use because there's nothing really to actually use. It's, apart from setting up a model, it's all there for you. There are, I think, 12 model spots for you to set up if you wanted to set up more than one model. I didn't do that. That's probably something I should have done to show you guys how to do it. But ultimately, I was only going to ever fly it with drones. So if you buy it for tanks, you know, just go. There is a wizard for each one, and just follow it through. And it's fairly simple, don't get me wrong. So do I think you should buy it? So if you're somebody who's been in FPV for years, is used to HTX, then no, unless you're looking for a specific controller that's really small, really compact, that you can put in your backpack and take with you whenever you go to places, and really light as well, to be fair, then it's probably not for you, because you can't expand it, you don't have HTX, and it's sort of a step back for experienced pilots. But it's not aimed at experienced pilots. It's clearly aimed at the newbie end, potentially even the younger flying end. Like I say, Boy Wonder FPV, he loves it. He loves how it feels, he loves the size of it, and he loves the cool little graphics on the screen. So in that respect, if you're new to the hobby, or if you want a colour screen, or if you've got really small hands and you're finding other controllers too big, but you don't want to buy a Radiomaster Pocket because you know you're going to have to spend extra money on the AG01 gimbals, then this is probably one that you would want to pick up because the gimbals are really nice, that screen's really nice, the telemetry settings on it are all quite fun. It's just a shame that you can't expand it with Edge TX, and it's a shame that you can't expand it, but ultimately it's a real budget radio. It costs less than a Radiomaster Pocket, and in my opinion it's got way more features. Radiomaster Pocket doesn't have a colour screen. Radiomaster Pocket has standard gimbals. These are Hall sensor gimbals. Radiomaster Pocket may have Hall sensor gimbals, but these just feel so much better. You've got the pots, you've got the switches, and you've got ELRS built in. So if you're new to the hobby and you want to pick up something on a budget, but you want something that's a little bit of bling, maybe in a different colour, then make the smart choice and buy the JumperRC Smart. But if you've been in the hobby for years and you think this is too basic for you, make the smart choice and don't. The choice is, of course, up to you. If you've got any questions whatsoever, leave them down below and I'll try and answer as many of them as I possibly can. And if I can't answer you, I'll tell you that I don't know what the answer is. But this is so new that you may have thought of something that I haven't, so do drop a comment if you need to know the answer, and I'll quite happily answer it in the comments down below.